You took a look at their data and then you did something very informative and interesting. You actually adjusted it for the cost of living. Tell us what you found and why you thought it was important to do that.
Well, I do it because they don't, and they have no interest in looking at an apples-to-apples comparison of teacher pay, which is what adjusting for cost of living does. And I found that when you do that, North Carolina is ranked 29th in the nation in teacher pay because we have a relatively low cost of living. If you want to look at a state that should be in the streets protesting teacher pay, it would be Hawaii. Because while Hawaii tends to spend a lot on their teachers, it's the most expensive state in the nation to live in. And so when you adjust their teacher pay, they're last in the nation because it's so expensive to live there. And that's a good illustration of why it's important to adjust for for cost of living, because making that adjustment shows that the high pay, or what appears to be high pay in some of these states, is really low pay because it doesn't go very far.
Exactly. Simply put, it costs a lot more to live in, say, the New York City area than it does in Raleigh, North Carolina. The NEA also looked at spending, how much we spend per pupil, and compared all of the states. How did North Carolina fare?
Well, we fared 39th in per pupil spending, but again, that's not adjusted for any of the differences across states. It's certainly not adjusted for cost of living, and it really doesn't account for the important differences there are in states, such as the number of students that are on free and reduced lunch, the number of special needs students. And those are important differences that aren't adjusted for in this study. Now, North Carolina has been increasing the amount that it has spent on schools, and certainly the ranking has gone up. We're spending more on schools than we have. But any ranking has to be considered relative to other states. And so the fact that we're not moving up faster than some people would like is an indicator of a couple things. One thing is that other states are spending more per pupil because, one, of union contracts, but two, they're having a decline in student population. And when you have money going to states that have fewer students, then your per pupil expenditure is going to be increasing faster than states like North Carolina, which have an increase in student population. And so that's one of the variables that's not considered in the NEA report.